The idea of ZK rollups is that, okay, what is ZK? ZK is zero knowledge. So zero knowledge is not anything new. Zero knowledge is something in cryptography that was created in the late 1900s, and it's quite a big thing. So you probably heard of this thing called ZKP. So ZKP is called zero knowledge proof. And what it does with ZK rollups is that it takes the concept zero knowledge, so the cryptography thing, and then it includes rollups, which is what we talked about, the aggregation of all these little transactions going on. They put them together, and it becomes one of these scalability solutions. So now, it's the same thing. We have a plane going from point A to point B, but because they use zero knowledge in their system, so now this is by default, there's privacy involved by default, right? So you have privacy in there, and you have aggregation and allow faster scalability. So ZK rollup, amazing. It's very good. And that's something that a few companies are doing right now. One of them is Loopring, that they are using ZK rollups as one of their solutions. And a lot of people, a lot of really smart people, they all believe that ZK rollup will be the future. It will be something that's going to be very, very big in the future, and it's going to be one of these core technological stacks. And I agree with that too. One of the problems, with every solution, there's usually a problem. So there is definitely something that is apt for the future as we are growing a lot more and we're testing out the limits to all these different kind of technologies. So that's something for the future, and it definitely is going to be one of the core pieces in the future. But what about right now? Right now, today? One of the limitations in ZK rollup is that it's still doing very fundamental DeFi things. It's still doing very much, P2P trading. So that means me giving you money, you giving me money, and then we just trade. But as I mentioned, in summer 2020, the whole DeFi space, the whole composability, the whole money Lego thing has evolved quite a lot. So we're talking about derivatives, we're talking about exchange, we're talking about decentralized exchange, we're talking about automated market makers, we're talking about flash loans, we're talking about more complicated and sophisticated products. And yes, ZK rollups could do that in the future, but because right now, I told you about this whole cryptography zero knowledge thing, right? It is very cool, and it is definitely working. It's just that it takes a little bit more processing power, it takes a little bit more time, so it's a bit slower. And because of that, it is not exactly the best to do these lending, exchange, and derivatives, right? It's still very much for P2P payment. I owe you money, you owe me money, we settle the payment. And then it becomes a very simple calculation of how much money we have left in our balances. So that's the state of ZK rollups right now, which is not a big problem. It is still being tested and modified.